to the last days of 2020 with mtk-on-the-mic. I am MTK on the MIC. Hatless today, Saturday. It is Saturday, the 19th of September. It is 8:20 a.m. in California. Morning, California. Love you, California. It's 8:20 in the morning on his first day off after his first week on the job, back on the job for Trailblazer. Hope you're chilling out on a Saturday morning after your first week back on the job. Big E. It's 11:20 a.m. in Maine and in Florida. And it's 4:20 in the afternoon in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, in Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire, Togo. It's 4:20. Je sais que vous savez. It is 7:20 in Yemen, and we're going to be talking about Yemen today a little bit later in the show. But let's begin with our motto. Ring out the old, ring in the new, ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let it go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind for those that here we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to all humankind. It's Tennyson, as per Dad. I'm keeping the beard. I'm not going to shave till the last day of the year. And I was thinking that means this entire show, you guys are going to see me the way I'm not going to look in the new year. I'm just going to like that too, if I'm honest. So then I'm just going to let it grow. I mean, I don't see any reason to cut it. I want to start fresh in the new year. You know what I'm saying? Place for that. Okay, the very first topic this morning is not Yemen, however. We're going to get to that. The reason why we're talking about Yemen is because I accused someone of war crimes today while I was making coffee. You can watch me making coffee today because my Quar Mocha Pot game is tight. And I made a Mocha Pot how-to video, which you can see here in the last days. I wish I was in Ouagadougou. Have you ever been to sub-Saharan Africa? Have you been to Burkina Faso? You ever been to Ouagadougou? Or to Abidjan? Or to Lomé in Togo? Sub-Saharan Africa, right? That's what we're talking about right there, down there. I'm not still enough. So, the biggest news story, most important news story, what we all should be talking about is the DMCA. Stop what is happening with the DMCA. This is completely insane. Now, you're listening to music that I made, and I did this 2 years ago because we were trying to talk about how the DMCA controls the internet. It was begun, first of all, in the late 90s, before the internet is anything like it is now. It's an absurd set of rules that has been added to with these copyright restrictions and mechanisms whereby computers can identify songs like that. Like milliseconds of music can be identified by computers if they're stamped in a certain manner, right? So, as has happened to me in the past, I talked about it on one of the previous episodes. I had a Van Morrison tune that happened to be the very end of it was coming in. As I was coming in, it wasn't my music, and just maybe 3 seconds of that Van Morrison. Well, it laser beamed my account. It said you have violated copyright. This episode cannot be watched. It was a 1-hour program, and they laser beamed it for a 9-second chunk. So they're capable. Computers are capable of doing that. Since then, I've tried to change my production methodology. I got a cheap software, and I made all these tracks that you're hearing me play here, right? And I use that as my background music. Well, all that has become prescient because right now, this insane senator is attempting to sneak into the omnibus bills that have to be passed at the end of the year. They just jam shit in and they go out the door. And if Trump, of course, doesn't know anything, he's going to sign it all. He's going to sign everything that comes to him. So there's not going to be any veto going on here. I don't imagine. And so this is a situation that has suddenly erupted all over the internet. The notion that if you have a song play for a brief amount of time in your video and you put it up on the internet, you could be arrested and charged with a felony. That is what this bill would achieve. What? I mean, that's just insane, folks. So there's a lot of people talking about it. Stop DMCA. Stop DMCA. It's got to happen. It has gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. I have been calling for us to reevaluate the DMCA for a long time. Many people have. The Electronic Frontier Foundation has led in this, EFF.org. You should support them. I have a video we're going to pop back to right now because last year we talked about this. Actually, it was 2 years ago that we talked about this. We talked about it on the Anticlimactic Non-Show. Does anybody remember the Anticlimactic Non-Show? The Anticlimactic Non-Show was a program we produced a couple of years ago. And we covered DMCA. You know? Let's see what we had to say back then. DMCA. What I'm doing here, what we're doing here, is free. I'm paying for the internet. There's no FCC control of this. I can say fuck, shit, cocksucker, anus. I can do and say anything I want. I can show pictures of anything I want if I changed my settings, which would be adult content or not safe for work. And there's some things I might have to do to protect children because of COPA. You know COPA? The Children's Online Protection Act. So you don't want to do anything like that. I don't be yelling cocksucker anyway. But the point is I can't. The First Amendment gives me the absolute right. Do we need to read that too? Always in my studio there is a copy of the Constitution. Always is rule number 1 in every studio, in my opinion, in the United States of America, because if the cops come to the door, you want to be able to say, I'm pretty sure I have the right to do or say anything I want in this room, and you don't, because you're standing here without a warrant. But here's the Constitution of the United States of America. Let's go ahead and read the First Amendment Constitution. Shall we? Let's do it. I love reading it. Occasionally it pops up over there because of the 1998 show at the Brooklyn Museum of Art when Rudy Giuliani tried to censor art. I went in protest and I printed this, painted it on the back of my shirt, wore a tie, button-down shirt with this painted on the back. And it said, fuck Rudy. And I walked into the museum. That'll appear occasionally over there, but we're going to read it aloud. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. What that means is, by definition, everything I say in the room, everything I ever say or do, or anyone in here says or does, cannot be restricted by you or anyone else. No lawyer, no judge, no one. No one. That is what I signed up for, and that is what he was born into,
That's what the USA is supposed to promise. So let's start there. Copyright claims now are being put on what I've done and am doing. And so I'm having a problem with that. So let's take a look at what that means. DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. I just said I'm cool with following COPA, right? I don't want children to be affected adversely by my behavior. So cool, all right, I can see why that would need to be there. Can you see why this would need to be here? The Digital Millennium Copyright Act is a 1998 U.S. copyright law that implements two 1996 treaties of the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO. It criminalizes production and dissemination of technology, devices, or services intended to circumvent measures that control access to copyrighted works, commonly known as digital rights management, or DRM. It also criminalizes the act of circumventing an access control, whether or not there is actual infringement of copyright itself. That's where we are. If I play Van Morrison on the radio, or if I play William DeVaughn on my guitar, that's where I am. I'm in the act of circumventing an access control, whether or not I'm in infringement of the copyright itself. The MCA heightens the penalties for copyright infringement on the internet, passed on 12th October of 1998 by a unanimous vote in the Senate, signed into law by Bill Clinton on October 28th of 1998. The DMCA amended Title 17 of the U.S. Code. So that's the law. Now, let's talk about exemptions. No, it makes all the sense, but this is what's going to allow us to do whatever we want, okay? So you all accept that. Miscellaneous provisions, statutory licenses.
Okay, so we start getting into that last, whenever it was. When was that? I don't know. 2 years ago. That was December of
in a critical context
2018,
where there's no money being made, is covered here in the DMCA, like a professor or a person at a TED Talk, okay? That's covered. Now, I want to find that segment so we can talk about it and say that's why I should be able to play whatever music I want here and not be. Right now, there are bans on 2 or 3 of my videos simply because I played a song. And that can't happen. This has to be international. That's why that doesn't. But there's a way. I'm saying it's protected here. I'm reading the header, but it's protected. So hang on. We got to find the section that's about.
Okay, so the show wasn't that great, you got to admit. But it did begin the discussion, at least we started to begin the discussion of what was going on there. And, it was the last straw then, you know what I mean? And now this is the last straw. What is happening is that they want to use rules of capitalism to infringe on freedom of speech, to turn the YouTube or anything like it on the internet to be like television. And the whole point of the internet was that it's not television. So I've been talking about this for 25 years, the reach of the cable TV corporate structure to occupy the YouTube and to occupy streaming and to occupy the internet so that it can't truly be free is an assault that is comparable to these globalist assaults in other media or formats. Okay, so this is insane. And we must stop this. If you look up the hashtag StopDMCA, and I'm going to add it to this, there are a lot of people talking about it. There's a couple of videos that are out, and you will see quite clearly a lot of folks are upset. I'm upset. Anybody making art should certainly be upset. This is getting... We have lived through 20 years of infringement upon our creative space, our mental and emotional space to think. That is what has happened with the post 9/11 up to now. And as I told to Siva Vaidyanathan, I said, I'm not saying it's Orwell. I said it was Orwell, right? When I read 1984 aloud in Los Angeles as a performance piece on the 1-year anniversary of 9/11, starting at dawn and finishing at sunset, I was saying, it's Orwell. And it was. That's how they got total information awareness. Then came Huxley. So it's Orwell and then Huxley, right? It's the authoritarian head that passes you off to the Soma era of social media, which is what we're in now. So all of this is guided by policy. And the DMCA is a flawed, utterly failed policy. To strengthen it in this way is to be basically turning the internet into a totalitarian state. That is not an exaggeration. It would be a felony if accidentally right now I was changing channels and Van Morrison came on for an eighth of a second while I was changing channels. This guy would have that be a felony. I don't know. It's enraging, is what it is. It's enraging. So there's my little bit on the DMCA for today. I really hope you will all go look it up, get involved, talk to people. We have to rewrite the entire thing. And actually what we need is a digital environment commission and a new act that would incorporate voting, that would incorporate at least the ability to monitor voting through various mechanisms. We need an omnibus bill to deal with the digitization of our society, because the interpretation of that has gotten crazy, and authoritarians are using it willy-nilly to intensely infringe upon our rights, our basic rights as human beings to express. So that's got to change. We need a method to do that. I'm hoping the Biden and Harris administration will begin us on a path toward a better situation than what is on our plates right now, folks. Please, hashtag stop DMCA. Next, I wanted to read something from Twitter. Today's is going to be from Rio Slade. Where'd it go? Who notes that something is happening in Turkey that could be relevant for us here. The 0% capacity question of ICUs, right? The ICUs are becoming swamped, flooded, and it's going to continue all winter long. Rio Slade of the Guillotine Party, well known to a lot of us on Twitter as @RioSlade. Another ICU explosion. This will likely be attributed, like the others, to improper use or storage of oxygen. Multiple countries have reported such explosions or fires tied to oxygen. And then she has this clip from Ankara, Turkey, AP, Associated Press. A fire broke out Saturday, today, at an intensive care unit treating COVID-19 patients in southern Turkey after an oxygen cylinder exploded, killing 9 people, the health minister said. This is the article she's using to point out. As we have overcrowding, we must be very careful about fire policies, folks, around oxygen. That is a great point made by Rio Slade @RioSlade on Twitter. The Moderna vaccine has been approved, as we were saying would happen. And, we're at 40 minutes past the hour and 20 minutes deep. Let's take a little music break. I like the simulated record scratch, digital record scratch. Yeah, we're a new world, and our society is hampered by a constitution and sets of laws that are not reacting fast enough to our circumstance. I mean, I don't know that any country or culture could, because we've advanced so much digitally, and we've not really been able to. It's like the genie's out of the bottle, the monster's out of the cage. I don't know how you want to put it. And in the end, what happens? Those people who are Hobbesian look at it one way, and those who are Lockean look at it another way. And I'm an optimist about human nature and culture because I've been around the world 7 times. I've spent time with people everywhere, and people are good. You like that? Tucked away in the 23rd minute of the last days of 2020 was a statement MTK would deny for the rest of his life, though it was captured on film and placed on the internet. This denial would ultimately be cause of his diagnosis as unhinged, mad. This music's very heavy. It's all the stuff I composed because I'm worried. I don't want to get thrown in jail because I put a song on my blog. What are you talking about? That's not cool, folks. Okay, Yemen. We began by talking about Yemen today because I did a mocha pot demonstration, and it's a Yemeni city, Mocha. And then I commented that there's war crimes going on there. And guess who's committing them? I am. We are. Americans are committing war crimes right now, actively in Yemen. And we don't even know about that. We might be drinking out of a mocha pot named after one of the cities there, happily not knowing that. And it's freaking maddening. As per Doug Bandow in the American Spectator earlier this year, Yemen has long been the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Slaughtered civilians, wrecked infrastructure, millions hungry, cholera epidemic, and now COVID-19 is afflicting the vulnerable population. Yemen is really on the brink right now, explained Jens Larke, spokesman for the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. The situation is extremely alarming. They are talking about that the health system has in effect collapsed in Yemen. We are responsible for this. The USA, the Trump administration has backed the Saudi-led war. Saudi Arabians are the ones executing all this craziness against the Houthi rebels in Yemen, okay? Now, Senator Chris Murphy is and has been actively resisting and questioning and arguing in Congress that we have to stop what is going on. And yet, Trump and the Senate passed a $23 billion arms sale to the UAE for weapons that we know are going to this Yemeni crisis. So you should read up about the Yemeni crisis, especially if you're going to, drink out of a mocha pot, like I showed you how to do in today's last days of the episode. The civilian death toll from Saudi Arabia's disastrous air war over Yemen was steadily rising in 2016 when the State Department's legal office in the Obama administration came to a crazy conclusion, right? Michael LaForgia and Edward Wong in the New York Times. Top American officials could be charged with war crimes for approving bomb sales to the Saudis and their partners. 4 years later, more than a dozen current and former U.S. officials say the legal risks have only grown as President Trump has made selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other Middle East nations a cornerstone of his foreign policy. So Biden can end the war in Yemen. Joe Biden can and should and must end the war in Yemen. We need to rein in the money we're giving to the Saudis and to the UAE, and we need to reframe the entire dialogue in a peaceful way, folks. Yeah. This is horrifying stuff happening, and Americans writing the checks and sending the weapons. Please, I don't want that. I don't want that. So those are the two topics today. Stop this DMCA madness that they're attempting. Stop it loudly. This is ridiculous. Stop the DMCA. Hashtag stop DMCA. And look into Yemen. Look into Senator Chris Murphy and learn about the resistance to the United States participating in war crime in Yemen. It's been going on for 4 years, folks. In your name, that's happening. You want that? Is that something you want to happen in your name? War crime? Yeah, I don't want that. I really don't want that.